evening. I'd like to call to order the Village Board meeting for May 29th. If we could ask the clerk to do roll call, please.
Sure. Mayor Nero.
Here.
Clerk Simsky, here. Trustee Barker.
Here.
Trustee Guzzo.
Here.
Trustee Little.
Here.
Trustee Pirelli.
Here.
Trustee Plowman.
Here.
Trustee Scales.
Here.
Attorney Zemanek.
Here.
Village Manager May.
Here.
And Assistant Village Manager Parker.
All right, well, today's special, so Manager May is going to lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I was distracted by the train.
Hopefully Maverick saw it. Okay, we do have a couple requests for open forum. First, we're going to call up Dwayne Newton from 10 West Traby. He has some questions on Traby construction.
It's not questions, it's comments. I've had a lot of questions, and I just want to say thank you for, I'm working with the engineering, I guess, on the job, and then they're, kind of referring some requests and questions to the village, and everything's becoming a happy place.
Wow. You can
Thank
say
you.
it again if you want.
All right.
Well, thank you, sir, and I don't know if this next person's been through security yet, but I'd like to call up Ron Gunter, Mayor Ron Gunter, 209 East Dallas. He's got just a general, not very specific.
No, just general information. Good evening. It's an honor to follow Dwayne, because usually I see him from that viewpoint, and that was a very good open forum request. I'm really here because you're honoring Manager May, and it's quite an honor. When you're in public service for 40 years and 36 and a half here, that's an honor to accomplish, and the village is much better for it. I wanted to make sure I came now to acknowledge that. And again, 11 years ago, you were convinced to be manager, and you've done a tremendous job. Tremendous job. I think everybody in here realizes that. And I just want to make sure that as a resident, a 48-year resident, acknowledge that we're proud of what you did and what you've accomplished. And I think Tom Mulhern's the only one who's been here longer than he's still here. But again, congratulations.
Thank you,
I see
sir.
your family, your grandson here, and thank the board. You've got a lot of new faces, and Mayor Nero, I appreciate you allowing me to, is 3 minutes up?
You got more time.
I know, I got more.
Keep talking about it.
Jim is checking the clock, but no, and again, congratulations. It is quite an honor to accomplish that many years of public service, especially here in Westmont.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Gunter.
Rush the dais, we have to have it escorted out.
And if you want to sit tight, Mayor, we might need you for a picture later today, too. Okay, well, let's get, unless Manager May has anything to say.
I think I better do it later.
Okay, well, hang tight later. Well, it's your day, whatever you want. We're going to go right into board reports. And as for the mayor, I got a couple things. First, you might have noticed when you came in this evening, we are starting our Village Hall ADA improvements. That's to the front and rear entrances of Village Hall. They are in progress. The project is expected to be completed this summer. So we ask everyone to please be safe and patient during construction. And next, just a acknowledgement and thank you to everyone who participated in the Memorial Day Parade. We want a special thanks to our friends at the Westmont American Legion and the Park District for the coordination of the event, and all the village staff who worked together to make it happen, including Mayor Gunter, who was there to represent. I wasn't able to make it, but thank you, sir, for covering. I know the American Legion really appreciated it. Next, State of the Village presentation, if you haven't seen it, is on the website, and I believe it's on social media. There's a video of it. Excellent, I think, just an excellent experience to be at. It's the first time we've done it in a while, and had great attendance, and special thanks to the chamber. I think Kylie's here somewhere for putting it all together, but also the village staff. And that was the bulk of the presentation. Really, spending a lot of time to make sure that we were to educate the community on all the operations of the village, our priorities going forward. So a wonderful event. Again, it's on the Village YouTube channel as well as on our website. It's good entertainment. I definitely recommend checking it out. And then Public Information Committee, more than a dozen people participated in yesterday's Public Information Committee meeting. This is an internal meeting in which village staff meet with representatives of community organizations to share information regarding upcoming events. So look for a recap of all the events to be published very, very soon, which is lots of good information. And that is all I have, so we'll move right on to our village clerk.
Thanks, Mayor. Just one item, looking ahead to June, village offices will be closed to the public on Thursday, June 19th, as well as Friday, July 4th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Moving on to trustees. Trustee Johanna Guzzo, please.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next Fire Public Safety Committee meeting dates are August 7th and November 6th. They do start here 4:30 at Village Hall. Everyone is invited to attend. And our new fire facility update. The village will soon publish a new webpage which will be dedicated to providing information regarding progress on the new fire facility. The webpage will have links to the new facility presentation from last month. As the village moves forward on this project, information and updates will be added to this new webpage. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Scales.
Thank you, Mayor. Community Development Committee has 2025 meeting dates scheduled for July 24th and October 16th. The Planning and Zoning Commission, there will be a public hearing at the normally scheduled meeting on June 11th at 6 p.m. here at the Village Hall. They'll be discussing further zoning ordinance updates. The public is welcome to attend, and you can visit the Community Development Department Zoning Updates page on the website for more info and the Agenda Center. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Perilli.
Yes, so for Public Works Committee, their 2025 meeting dates are June 12th, September 18th, and December 4th. And the Public Works had an open house. If Director Amy Rice wants to come up or speak about it really quickly.
Thank you, Trustee. We had a really nice attendance. We had a nice brisk day for the open house. We had a lot of people come out, a lot of kids at the open house, and everyone seemed to really enjoy themselves, enjoy some of the fun activities we had, and of course the hot dogs, and seemed like fun was had by all. So it was a successful event, and thanks to everyone who came out.
And finishing up, there's Washington and Traube infrastructure improvements. So work has begun on the Washington and Traube infrastructure improvements project. Major work items include water main, storm sewers, curb and gutter, sidewalk, and roadway resurfacing. Please use caution when driving in the area and seek alternative routes if possible to avoid delays. And then please check the website for periodic updates on the project. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Plowman.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Police Public Safety Committee, the next meeting is June 26th at 4:30 here at City Hall. I also have to report on the Spring Fling Festival, which I'm a fellow Lion, and it went really well. The afternoons were beautiful, and the nights got like Oktoberfest. It like dropped to the 50s and 40s, so it got really chilly. But overall, I think it was a huge success. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank all the Lions volunteers that were out there, all of our resident volunteers. I know Linda was there. Thank you, Linda. But it takes a community to put that thing together, and it went off flawlessly. I was also impressed to see a lot of students who volunteered from our 201 schools to clean tables and clean up trash and garbage, so that went really well. Also want to thank the Rotary who partnered with us, who helped with the carnival. But the biggest highlight is we had Brian Krajewski there, member of the DuPage County Board, and he presented the Lions with a $30,000 check, so a grant. So that's going to put a lot of coats on kids during the winter. It's going to supply a lot of glasses for our neighbors and a lot of food for the hungry. And then after that, it was the Race to the Flag. I participated in that. It was a rainy kind of morning, but I don't think anybody was expecting the rain. I looked at Surrey and it said clear skies, but rain was pouring on my head at the time. But I ran with my sister-in-law, who came in second place in her age division, and I don't know what place I came in, but we're not going to talk about that. But also, the traffic safety at Cass and Richmond. The police department has created a safety video that targets current violations that have been occurring near Cass and Richmond. We invite the public to check out the video on the police Facebook page. More will be posted on the village website. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Little.
Thank you, Mayor. Our next Administration Finance Committee meeting will be July 10th, right here in Village Hall at 4:30. Everybody's invited to attend this. And guess what? Cruising Nights starts next Thursday night. It's only 1 week away. Every Thursday night in downtown Westmont on Cass Avenue from 5 to 9. We've coordinated and hosted by the Westmont Special Events, a non-for-profit organization, so please come out for the car shows. Taste of Westmont is going to be July 10, 11, 12, and 13. Information has already been posted on the Westmont Special Events website, westmontevents.com. So take a look at it, make sure you see all your favorite music. So that's coming up. The Village has a summer window mural program going on right now, so it's open for sign up for the summer window mural program. Businesses can sign up at westmontevents.com. And then last, garbage and yard waste stickers update. Citizens can come into Village Hall and exchange last year's stickers for this current year's stickers. The opportunity will continue only through July 18. More information is available on the Village website. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. A few things this evening. The Environmental Improvement Committee will meet Monday, June 2nd, at our wonderful Westmont Library. And at that meeting, we will have a guest speaker that will come to us and talk about solar power. And that begins at 5:30 p.m. It's an excellent top-tier speaker. So if you're interested in solar power, please attend that presentation. And then we have in town, we have a tree planting incentive program going on through Public Works. This is second time through, I believe, and we encourage residents to plant trees on their private property. And you sign up via the village website. There's a bit of a contribution there on behalf of the village because we understand as an environmental improvement committee in the village how important trees are to everybody. So we're trying to get a greater tree canopy. And then lastly, we have something new and exciting. So there's going to be a new Village Art Fair event. And we're working on that with village staff and some volunteers. We're working on coordinating an art fair that's scheduled for September 13th and 14th in Veterans Memorial Park. And I'm very proud of the fact that we're able to try to do this because we've had numerous conversations over the years on how to showcase the art environment in the community, whether it's dancing or singing or fine arts, and we have all that stuff and we want to showcase that. We're very proud of it and we want to grow that, invite others to participate. So I'm excited about that, looking forward to it, September 13th and 14th. Mark it on the calendar. Mayor, I'll see you there. Right?
That's right, and I'll be there, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. Is there any items that the board would like to remove from the consent agenda? I think we might have one, with some guests here. Anybody?
We do have guests here for the proclamation, if someone would like, we'll just pull that.
Okay, sounds good. Let's pull it.
Not pull it to not do it, pull it to do it separately, is all.
Pull it to read it separately, so we'll do Manager May, your last consent agenda to read. Have at it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I would have been paying attention. All right, the consent agenda this evening starts with Village Board minutes. Board to consider approving the minutes of the Village Board meeting held May 15, 2025. Next is the finance ordinance in the amount of $1,958,530.36. We have one purchase order for Zoll Medical, $63,834.42. This is a lease for 6 cardiac monitors for their vehicles, also a budgeted item. You put the purchase order together with the finance ordinance tonight, it's $2,022,364.78. We're handling the proclamation separately, so the last thing on the consent agenda is the April 2025 monthly board treasurer's report. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve is read. Little?
Second, Scales.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, now we'll move on to the proclamation for National Gun Violence Awareness Day, and we have some guests here wearing orange, so maybe we'll read the proclamation first.
I'll do that, and I think they'd like to,
Come on up and say
present
something.
as well.
Okay,
So-
great.
National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas every day, more than 125 Americans are killed by gun violence, and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 17,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas, according to the CDC, Illinois has more than 1,700 gun deaths every year, with a rate of nearly 13 deaths per 100,000 people, a crisis that costs the state over $18 billion each year, of which $625 million is paid by taxpayers. And whereas Illinois has the 10th highest rate of gun deaths in U.S. in 2022, and whereas cities across the nation, including the Village of Westmont, are working to end gun violence with evidence-based solutions, and whereas support of the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens can go hand in hand with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories. And whereas law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention groups and resources, know their communities best and are most familiar with the local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever, as we see an increase in firearm homicides, suicides, and non-fatal shootings across the country, increased calls to domestic violence hotlines, and increase in city gun violence. Whereas in January 2013, Idea Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15, and last year on June 7th, 2024, to recognize the 27th birthday of Ms. Pendleton, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange to tribute Idea Pendleton and other victims of gun violence and the loved ones of those victims. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Idea's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange, choosing this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on the first Friday in June, this year, June 6th, to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and encourage responsible gun ownership to keep our families and communities safe. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Stephen T. Nero, Mayor, does hereby declare June 6, 2025 to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the Village of Westmont, and encourages all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and honor and value human lives. Pass this day.
Thank you, sir. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Plowman?
Second, Guzzo.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We'd like to invite the group up if they'd like to say a few things about the cause and your organization. I think this is our second year.
How'd you know which ones they were?
Well, I think I got a shirt at home, so it sticks out.
Thank you for that.
We just wanted to say thank you for your time and for your support of this cause. Our local group of Moms Demand Action has over 1,000 members, volunteers, and survivors, not only here in Westmont, from Willowbrook to Darien, who are all working to reduce gun violence in all its forms, and especially at this time of year. So we really do appreciate you allowing us to come back and support this day for us. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for being here.
So they have their copy of the, do you have the original? Yeah, if you want to do a photo or anything with them.
Sure, I'd be happy to do one. Yeah, come on.
Look at me bossing you around.
One last time.
Oh, she's got it. All right, let's get up there, guys. Get our police chiefs up here too? Come on, I think so.
There we go.
Yeah. We boss them around now. see?
Yeah.
All right, get in here, all the guys in the orange team. Okay. Yeah, sure, all right, I'll get on this side, perfect. There we go. All right, thank you guys, yeah, take care. All right, moving right along. Thanks again for coming, everybody. New business. A, special use permit and variance request from Salt Creek Ballet at 98 East Naperville Road. Board to consider an ordinance approving requests from Salt Creek Ballet Company and PNC Holdings LLC, the owner, at 98 East Naperville Road, Westmont, Illinois, for the following. 1, special use permit to operate a performing arts studio in the B2 General Business District. 2, a zoning ordinance variance to the special condition that requires a 100-foot distance separation between a performing arts studio and a residence district. And I have our Community Development Director, Hennefine, here to help us out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Board. So I'm going to go and do a little bit of extra explanation because I have 2.5 new trustees that haven't had the same exposure. Well, trustee Scales, new but not new. But basically, I'm going to try to do a little explanation so that my new faces understand what's here before us. So Salt Creek Ballet has existed at 98 East Naperville Road for many years. Now, also on the agenda tonight, following this, a new buyer is buying the building, moving a new use into the first floor, and found a way to preserve Salt Creek in this building, but they need to move up to the second floor. So this is considered a performing arts studio. Our current zoning ordinance requires performing arts studios to be a special use. So there's a difference between a permitted use, which means it's allowed by right, which means that all a business has to do is apply for a business license, do whatever permitting they need to do if they need to change the space, and then move into that space. Special use means that it might be okay. We need to know a little bit more about the use. We need to know a little bit more about the building. So for a performing arts studio, typically the general concern is there going to be a lot of traffic generation that happens from this? You see this a lot with our dance studios, especially in the downtown. That's why we have the ability to scrutinize the dance studios, because there's usually a big demand of pickup drop-off. So no special use had ever been established for Salt Creek when they went into this space. It wasn't actually required at the time. But for them to move from the first floor to the second floor, they need to get that secured so they can be there legally. And then there is a special condition for those that says they should be 100 feet away from a residential district. And what that's trying to do is protect residential districts just in case there's a lot of disruption. So for them to move into this space, they need a special use approval and a variance to that 100-foot distance because there is residential just immediately to the north. So this was heard by Planning and Zoning at the May 14th meeting. It was a unanimous positive recommendation on both those voting items. And I do have the business here represented, and I'll go ahead and invite them up, and they can tell you a bit more about their business.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Joel. My name is Carl Newman. I'm a member of the Building Committee. We also have 2 directors with us, my wife Christine Schultz and Julie Mayer, also directors of the Salt Creek Ballet. We have been, as a performing arts studio, ballet and dance, providing dance services to children, to adults, for over 25 years at this location, at 98 East Naperville Road. And the building has been sold, and we've been working with CJ to be able to maintain our existence in Westmont by moving upstairs to the second floor. And that's the reason why we're here tonight, is because when we established our residency over 25 years ago, we didn't need what we need now. And there was a lot of questions that came up when we had the planning committee meeting, and that was, what about overlap with students? And the reality of it is the daycare students are there during the day, and the Salt Creek Ballet students are there in the evenings and on Saturdays and weekends when the daycare students are not there. Also, parking is not an issue because we have only 3 full-time employees and 7 part-time employees. And we do this, you know, with limited parking, and to the extent that there is parking with parents that bring children in, it's after hours when the daycare center is finished. So it's a symbiotic relationship pretty much that works out, and that was pretty well established, and we were here before. We have all the information that was provided to you in here. Are there any questions?
I have none. Yes, trustee Barker.
So I want to ask, you know, and I know you've been there a long time, absolutely no issues with that, but, you know, when you talk about, I read in the paperwork that was provided to us that you could have up to 60 students for a particular event. And then I'm wondering if there's ever been a time where you're queuing the cars for pickup where it may get out onto Naperville Road, right?
Typically, let me say it this way, there's nobody there is on the staff where parents just simply drop off students and then there's somebody there that brings them in. The parents bring the students into the studio.
So everybody parks.
They park temporarily.
Perfect. Yep.
You know, bring the students in and they leave, right, Julie? I mean, that's basically the way it works.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
So the only permanent parking people are the employees, of which there are not very many.
Right.
So, are there any other questions? Thank you for your consideration.
Yeah, thank you for being here. All right, there's nothing else. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion, Scales.
Second, Plowman.
And this is one motion for both the special use and the variance.
For 1 and 2, yep. Roll call, please.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Moving right on to B, variance and site plan request. Primrose Schools at 98 East Naperville Road. Board to consider an ordinance approving request from KidVest LLC, DBA Primrose School of Westmont. The petitioner and PNC Holdings LLC, the owner, at 98 East Naperville Road in Westmont, for the following. 1, zoning ordinance variance to allow for a playground and equipment to encroach into the required supplemental setback line to Naperville Road and within a required front yard setback in the B2 General Business District. 2, site and landscape approval, and 3, parking stall waiver. Caress, Director Hennerfein.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the second piece of tonight's discussion. There will be a third. So this is actually the business that's going to locate on the first floor. So the difference between the first one and the second one is this is a daycare, and the daycare is a permitted use. So they're not here asking for a special use approval. What they're asking is they need to make modifications to the site because their daycare use has a lot of requirements for outdoor play areas for the kids. So the first thing they're doing is they're saying one of the play areas is on the south side of the building. If we have anyone that didn't grow up in Westmont, I didn't, so I learned this after I started working here. Naperville Road used to come through right here and kind of connect to Chicago in a different way. So there's a big area in front of this property that the Public Works and Forestry recently planted with some nice trees. But that is still technically the right-of-way. The property line is way back behind the sidewalk from where the road used to exist. So they are putting a playground in that area. It's technically the front yard, but it is not right up on the street, like you might think when you hear that they want to put it in the front yard. So to put it in that front yard setback, they need a variance for that. Second, they need a site and landscape approval. So on commercial properties whenever someone wants to build or make modifications to their external areas, they have to get a site and landscape approval through both planning and zoning and the village board. That allows us to scrutinize things like parking lot design and some other designs, and also upgrade the landscaping. So the landscaping around this building is deficient by today's standards. Landscaping around the entire building will be brought up to our current standards and made much more beautiful. And then finally, there's what's called a waiver. So a waiver means that it's not a zoning ordinance that is being asked to be modified. It is just a general code within our municipal ordinance. We have a standard right now that says parking spaces should be 10 by 20, 10 feet by 20 feet. That is a fairly outdated standard. Most communities use a 9 by 18. They've asked for 9 by 18. Usually we try to stick to 10 by 20 for commercial spaces, retail spaces. Usually in offices, we are fairly comfortable with allowing offices smaller spaces because those cars don't come and go so much. Usually you come for an 8-hour shift. There's not as much activity going on there. And as you heard Salt Creek state that most of their people drop off and leave quickly, we are comfortable with the request of the 9 by 18 spaces. As always, I'm available for any questions, and I do have CJ here with Kid Vest, who represents Primrose, that can describe the business a bit more to you.
Sure. Yeah, it'd be great if you'd like to. Welcome.
Mayor and your trustees, thank you for having me here. It's so exciting to share, to kind of get to this stage. These projects can take a long time. There's a lot of complexity with working through the zoning and all the details. But for me, this really started with the challenge of moving back to my childhood home in Downers Grove with a 9-month-old and finding zero capacity anywhere for a 9-month-old around here, period. We ended up getting lucky to find one spot in Naperville, which is actually where most of the preschool capacity is based in DuPage County. If you look across the county as a whole, there's only licensed capacity for 42% of under 5s. And there's an absolute shortage, particularly within the Westmont, Downers, Clarendon Hills area. I'm constantly driving down Chicago, Naperville, and I think the broker was shocked to get a call the day their for sale sign went up for that building, because it's not obvious who would take over that building, but for us it's really perfect, being located close to a residential area where there's a huge amount of demand from customers. So I'm excited to bring this service to the community. It's something now, I have a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. Hopefully we can get it open in the next year. Would love to have them in there, and happy to answer any further questions you have about it.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions from the board?
I did.
Yes, fire away.
The
Trustee Little.
capacity for children
180 approximately.
and the age various, or are you keeping it open for different age groups?
So start at 6, theoretically, licensing allows you to start at 6 weeks. In practice, you're probably starting around 5 or 6 months and going up to 5 years.
And I really like the idea of the wheel stops, given that I've seen several in the news lately about people crashing into a...
Yeah, for sure. I think, even we didn't go into a lot of details with it in planning and zoning, but some of the playgrounds would be fenced in with crash-rated fencing as well. When you actually see the pictures, the system has more than 500 schools, so there are accidents that happen occasionally, and when you see how over-engineered these campuses are, it's very impressive.
Thank you for that.
Trustee Barker?
Mayor? Yep, thank you. So for you, just the same situation that I asked Salt Creek. So the parents are going to bring those little ones in and then go back to their cars. So it's a park situation. It's not a queuing pickup thing.
Exactly.
Okay, so I really liked your concept. I looked through the details. This one's for Joe. Joe, could you just tell us, it's been a while since we talked about the DIP program, how we're standing there with the funds available, and I'm glad they're taking advantage of it, right? So where are we with what we're doing in 2025, and is there money left, right?
I can answer that now, but I prefer, I actually have a presentation for you when we get to the next item.
He's excited about it.
There you go. Who knew, right? They don't tell me anything.
I could tell you now, but then I won't have anything to say on the next one.
All right. Hey, great minds think alike, Joe. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just have a quick
Yes, sir.
question for the applicant. So, and pardon my ignorance, I noticed the Primrose has locations around the country. Are they all corporately owned or are they franchised?
It's a franchise.
Franchise, okay. Thank you.
All right, and then hearing no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 1, 2, and 3.
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Scales?
No questions, roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
All right, motion passes, congrats. And now the big and exciting one that trustee Barker's been waiting for, Downtown Incentive Program Grant DIP requests, 98 East Naperville Road. Board to consider an ordinance awarding a Downtown Incentive Program DIP Tier 3 grant to Kidvest LLC and NVS Properties 44 LLC for interior and exterior rehabilitation of 98 East Naperville Road. Director Hennebeim.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So before we move to this, I've got just like a 4 or 5 slide presentation. This is as a refresher to everyone that sits here, and then for my new folks that don't quite know what the program is. So as a brief history, the village for many years had what was called a facade and life safety grant program. It was up to $5,000 of matching money for your facade and up to $3,000 for your life safety, which is typically your sprinkler systems or your alarm systems. In today's standards, that doesn't pay for much. When COVID hit, we kind of put the program on a hiatus and said, well, we want to retool it and bring it back. So we brought it back as this downtown incentive program. We're funding it with TIF dollars because these are in the TIF areas. It is a program that is designed for the downtown to get reinvestment in existing buildings. So if I could ask Jeff, if you can get this up on the screens for me, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So the program purpose was to provide financial incentives to assist and promote investment in properties and businesses. We're looking at existing buildings. So that doesn't mean that new buildings can't ask for some of those TIF dollars. Those would just be done under a TIF agreement. This is for the regular property owner that doesn't have a gigantic project to access some of those TIF dollars that are available in the downtown. We're trying to enhance the viability of established businesses and also encourage and attract new business. So what does it take to be eligible? First off, you have to be in the right area. So that map that is highlighted here is basically the identical map of the TIF district that we had in the downtown. You'll see many colors in that map, which means there's a lot of different zoning districts, the colors of the zoning districts. We wanted the primary money to go to the B1, which is our light pink color there, and most of the B1 properties are Cass Avenue. However, everyone in the TIF district that is a commercial property should be eligible. So in this case, this property is at 98 East Chicago. It is in a B2 zone district. The grant program is written so that preference can be given to B1 properties over B2. However, I'll get to how much money's left, and that kind of probably works into the priorities. Applicants can be the property owners, or they can be the business owners. So Salt Creek, who came up tonight for their special use, I expect that I'll see an application at a later date because they will have to put out a tenant finish in the property and might need to ask for some of those funds. Projects always have to meet the intent of the design guidelines. So a big piece of this was that we didn't have a lot of control when we were giving out facade grants before. Whether it was pretty or ugly, someone could ask for money for it. And as Trustee Guzzo knows, there was a lot of effort with the Main Street program to want to have beautiful buildings in the downtown. So we do have design guidelines. We try to make them meet those design guidelines. And in a moment, I'll tell you how we try to get better design, and that gets you more matching grant funds. So this helps existing development and their building exteriors. It goes inside the buildings. It can help with ADA, so your accessibility. It can go to things like code compliance. So we have a lot of historical buildings that have been avoiding bringing their buildings up to current codes because they know the cost associated with that. It can help with some business signage. It can help on the outside with parking lot and stormwater improvements. And if the applications were overwhelming us, we have the ability to make it competitive. We have a scoring system so that when this is a ramped-up program that is very popular and people are vying for the money, we need a way to say what is the best project, and we want to fund the best projects. So it is a tiered system. So you heard tonight it is a tier 3. So we started with baby steps with this program. When we first introduced it, we introduced tier 1. And so tier 1 was basically the smallest dollar amounts. So you needed to have a minimum $5,000 project entry level cost for fundable activities. And you could, depending on the way it's calculated, get up to a maximum of a $20,000 grant. So if you were investing $100,000 in your building or in something related to your building, you could ultimately get close to $20,000. We opened that up to tier 2. Tier 2 said if you're putting a minimum of $25,000 into your property, you can get up to a $50,000 grant award. And we kind of introduced that in the second year of that. We're into the third round of what we're doing, and we this year opened up tier 3. Tier 3 is a significant investment. It's a minimum $50,000 invested in your property, and you can get up to $100,000. So I'll use the request that's here before us tonight as the example so you try to understand that. So I told you that there were funded activities. We won't fund everything. We will fund certain things. And as you go up in tier and dollar amount, we will fund more things. So tier 1, we will fund facade improvements, signage, exterior ADA. So that is basically how do you get someone in a wheelchair in the front door of your building? And then fire life safety, which is everything related to your sprinklers and alarms and water line to service that. Tier 2, we start expanding that. We go into ADA interior. So if you have bathrooms in your building that aren't ADA compliant and you want to bring those up to standards, there is money there for that. Code compliance, so if you're electrical or something else related to that. Parking lot improvements we start to do. So we start moving on the outside of the building other than just the facade. And then stormwater, because we all know our stormwater priorities and issues with flooding in Westmont. We do want to try to put some money there. Tier 3 is our largest tier. This is directly trying to get someone to come in, take a dilapidated building, and bring it up to a much nicer standard. So that is what we have before us tonight. We have a building in the B2. Honestly, when people would ask me what is an adaptive reuse of that building, I couldn't guess on who would want to go in that building. And when I found out that this user was moving in there, I thought, I had never thought of that. It is centrally located, it is easy to get to, and it is a good adaptive reuse of this building, and that's my opinion. It doesn't pay for things like normal maintenance. We won't pay for awnings with signage. A lot of people ask me, why won't you pay for awnings with signage? It's because we've seen too many awnings that we helped pay for. When a business goes out of business, the awning suddenly is gone because their sign was on it. They took it with them or they took it down. We didn't want to be funding things that, we want awnings in our downtown. We won't help people use their debt service, resurface their parking lots, basically those common maintenance items. We didn't want people coming to the board just to ask for common maintenance. We want to see that they're actually making a genuine investment in making the property better. And then there's program and administration, and that's how does it get approved? There's a lot of things that don't come before planning and zoning. We take that through our economic development group, WEDP, to basically say, does it meet the minimum standards, and then bring it through the board. When it is something that goes through planning and zoning basically evaluates the project. Does it meet all of those minimum standards? So in this case, we've got a project that got a unanimous positive recommendation from planning and zoning. So what are the applicants requesting tonight? So they are investing, and I'm just going to speak to the fundable activities, not their total investment, which is much more. They are putting about $1.2 million into the fundable activities that we can partially try to reimburse. They could be putting in much less and still hit their maximum grant on this. So usually the maximum grant is $100,000. Someone might ask me, why are we considering $105,000? It's because we have what are called bonus incentives. And those are, can you make it a little bit better for us? And we'll give you a little bit more money. Now, $1,000 per bonus incentive is not much, but they have done some extra things for us, such as some of the signage they're asking for is a nicer, higher quality signage. Its lighting is backlit, so it won't have glare. It's not necessarily dark sky compliant, but it is not direct lighting, so we give an extra $1,000 for that. They are also getting a lot of improvements in their parking lot, upgrading the landscape areas. The lighting, when it does come in, since we are paying for some of the lighting, will have to be dark sky compliant fixtures. They also are doing parking lot screening for the cars that are parked in there, so they get bonuses for that. And then finally, whenever you're doing, we will fund some business equipment, and as long as it was going to remain with the building, we consider that a bonus. So some of the playground equipment, if for some reason they vacated, would stay with the building. So they are asking for $105,000. What's unique about this Tier 3 that never occurred on any of the other awards that we gave was there is a guarantee of improvements that basically says all these improvements have to remain for at least 3 years or you get penalized. You can't ask for money for 5 more years. So we didn't have really a recapture agreement that we could do with these. So this was the best way when we set up the grant program that it could be done. So I can always answer more. I didn't tell you how much money is left. So there was $250,000 budgeted in this. I do have one grant application for about $53,000. That main application has gone silent because we asked for clarification. But technically, we have obligated no funds, and we're already going at the end of May, and we started this on January 1st. So there is still $250,000 in that fund that can be spent, and 105 is being requested tonight. And this is a monumental amount of money that shows that the village has really put some effort into this. So I've got the petitioner here. He does have a little presentation, a little bit more on his business. We did work with them when they said they were going to ask us for money to say, can you work with Salt Creek to retain Salt Creek? And I believe that's where those discussions started. I believe I said, I think that this request will resonate much better if we can try to save that current business that's in there. So I'll bring up CJ again. We'll get his presentation on.
Thank you, Joe.
And I'm going to ask Jeff to help me get this to present. He was nice enough to tell me how to get the full presentation on, and I forgot how to do it.
Oh, he's coming in.
Here you go.
Okay, he's coming to save me.
We need you.
There we go.
Magic.
Okay, so I'm a guy who likes data, so I already gave you the stat that theoretical license capacity within the county is 42% of children under 5. In practice, usable capacity is much less because a lot of that capacity is our church-based programs that are only for 2 or 3 hours a day, maybe a couple days a week, so it really does not satisfy the need of a 2 working parent family. You can also see on the map that the vast majority of the capacity right now is in Naperville. So I think that speaks to some of the pain points of parents around here. Working with a group like Primrose, they have a very large data analytics team, so I asked them, can we show graphically who we think the customers would be for this school. In most of our schools, the customers live within a 10-minute drive of the school. So we plotted out the 10-minute drive time for you, and all the little green dots are children under the age of 5. So you see the vast majority of who we assume would be our customers are Westmont residents, with some pockets of northern Downers and Clarendon Hills, a little bit of Hinsdale. Speaking a little bit about Primrose, Primrose really was the first nationwide program that emphasized the education part of preschools. I always use preschool, not daycare. This is definitely not babysitting. Even for infant programs, there's a curriculum, which sounds kind of crazy until you see it. But it's been recognized by many organizations as the top academic preschool program in the nation. So Joe mentioned some of the fundable activities. As I see this is the largest commercial investment in the TIF district since the TIF district was created. Some of you are probably familiar with what the numbers that 201 put forward with what it costs to renovate their schools. It's a similar sort of project that we expect with this building, which really is a 1960s era warehouse supermarket. So it's a true gut renovation of this building, upgrading all the infrastructure, and turning this into an asset for the community for the next 50 years. Speaking about Primrose, it's been around for more than 40 years. It has never had a school fail ever for poor location decisions. Sometimes after 20 years of a lease, the school moves somewhere else, but we truly expect this to be a central part of serving the need of young families in the community for decades going forward. And I think you've seen some of these pictures, but just to give you a sense of what our assets look like around, what our schools look like around the nation. Any questions?
Very
Is the
nice,
building
thank you.
already sprinklered, or are you going to be putting it in?
It is sprinklered. There will be extensive updates of the sprinkler system.
Thank you.
If I could just make a comment.
Yes.
So I'm a buildings guy, and I would recommend a vinyl fence over a wooden fence, just for the longevity of it, right?
These are going to be steel fences
Oh.
because they're crash rated.
Wonderful. I thought I read wooden fence somewhere in the paperwork we got. Maybe it was last year's version. But thank you.
Wood-like fence.
Would-like, maybe that's what
Well,
it
by
is.
steel, are they open fences or?
They are
You can
open
see through
fences,
them,
but
right?
the width of the slats is regulated, so kids can't sneak out and.
No, can I just say really quick, just because I live right over there, so I know, is that whole green area going to be fenced in now? Or just parts of it where you,
So the triangle in front of the building
Yeah.
is the oak hickory forest that the village has planted. So as that landscaping matures, you really won't even see the front yard of
okay, so
of the
there's
building.
more in front of that space that you're using?
Yeah, so there's
Oh, okay.
there's
I
quite a
was
large
just-
setback from the road itself that actually
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
controlled
yeah.
by the village.
Oh, okay, I was just curious where your little area is going to be, okay.
I don't have any questions, but just want to say thank you for your investment in
Yeah.
Westmont and for coming to town. So that's all I had to say. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I remember when that building was a grocery store, so yeah.
Well, I think you heard it, but yeah, thank you very much. A heck of a project, and we appreciate you putting the time and energy into turning that whole building around. So exciting addition to our, really to our village. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, unless there's any other questions or comments, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Little.
Second, Barker.
And roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Motion passes. Congrats. And again, I think that is our biggest grant yet, so good work on getting that through, and hopefully more get the message. The funds are there. We want to improve this part of town, and let's do it. Joe's put together a heck of a program, him and his department run, and it's well worth the effort. So thank you for doing all that hard work.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Okay. Moving right on, we got a few more items, and then it's a big final grand finale here. D, award of bid proposal 2025 MFT resurfacing project. Award of bid proposal 2025 MFT resurfacing project. An ordinance awarding the bid, a little typo there, we got to work on for next time. Ordinance awarding the bid proposal for Schroeder Asphalt Services Incorporated for the village's 2025 MFT resurfacing project number 25-0011500RS and authorizing a contract consistent with the bid documents. Director Reese.
Good evening. We accepted bid proposals from 9 contractors, which was great. The bids were good. They ranged from $1,223,281.62 to $1,524,990.77. And the low bid was 20% below the engineer's estimate of $1,533,438.17. The bids were tightly clustered. The bids were good. This contractor has worked for us in the past, and the work was satisfactory. So we recommend awarding the bid to Schroeder Asphalt Services, Inc.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Little. Second, Guzzo.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, we'll move right on. Engineering agreement for 2025 MFT resurfacing project. This is a engineering agreement, 2025 MFT resurfacing project for the board to consider an ordinance authorizing an engineering agreement with Premier Engineers LTD for Phase 3 construction engineering services for the 2025 MFT resurfacing project. I think we get that. All right, Director Reese.
This is a request to approve a sum of $130,700 for Phase 3 engineering services, and this is all the construction inspection, documentation, coordinating with the contractor and things like that.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Scales.
Second, Little.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, moving right on to F, Administrative Code Hearing System. Board to consider an ordinance approving amendments to Chapter 1, Article 2 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances regarding Administrative Code Hearing System. And I will pass it on, I believe, to Attorney Zemanek.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
In 2018, the village established a system for administrative adjudication of ordinance violations such as building code violations, zoning violations, property maintenance code violations, et cetera. So instead of having to go to the circuit court, where the court would keep all the fine money and it would somewhat of a drain on staff time to have to go to court, we're allowed to conduct these hearings in-house with an appointed hearing officer who's an outside third party who serves as a judge, and the hearings are held right here in this room. And any fines that are levied, the village gets to keep those fines rather than pay them out to the circuit court. The systems worked well, and it was established pursuant to a state statute that was enacted around shortly before 2018 that allowed non-home rule municipalities to have this system of administrative adjudication. There was also a separate statute that allowed home rule communities to perform administrative adjudication of code violations, and that was amended, that statute, last year to allow non-home rule communities to take advantage of that same system that home rule communities can do. So what's proposed here is just changing the statutory authorization under which the hearing system operates for Westmont, and the benefits of doing so are less formal hurdles to jump over as far as issuing a citation, the time periods by which citations have to issue. For example, under the current system, citations have to be issued not less than 30 days or more than 40 days after a violation is first observed. There's no similar requirement under this new state statute that the village would operate under. similar other technical requirements that are no longer required, but this still preserves due process rights for a property owner or tenant who gets served with a notice of violation, the right to a hearing, et cetera. And as always, the goal with this is compliance. We're not trying to fine people. People will still get a notice of violation and time to cure the violation, sometimes second and third notices before they're brought to adjudication. And if someone's a first-time offender and it's a relatively minor violation, they're going to get a small fine and hope they correct the issue. And if they don't and they're a repeat offender, the fines will be increased. So that's the proposal, and happy to answer any questions.
I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Little?
Plowman, second.
Any questions, comments? If not, roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Motion passes. On to G, amendments to administrative tow hearing procedures. Board to consider an ordinance approving amendments to Chapter 78, Article 12, Division 1 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances regarding administrative hearings for vehicle seizure and impoundment. Attorney Zemanek.
Thank you. In the course of making amendments to the last ordinance that you approved and the next ordinance that's on your agenda, I took a look at the existing ordinance for administrative tows and the hearing procedures. There's a different state statute that allows the village to conduct administrative adjudication hearings when the police seizes vehicles and has them towed and impounded, such as, like, I think it's for DUIs or driving on a suspended license, circumstances where the police are authorized to seize a vehicle. And they come people whose cars were towed or seized receive a notice, come to an administrative adjudication hearing, and there's additional fees that they're typically required to pay. In looking through that ordinance, I noticed there were a number of kind of typographical type errors where, like, referred to this particular section of the code as the chapter. It should have referred to this division. So it's a lot of weird, just miscellaneous minor cleanups, and I wanted to make sure that this section did comply with the statutory requirements for administrative tow hearings. Made a few miscellaneous adjustments, but nothing in the way we've been operating this since 2009 without issue.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Barker.
Second, Scales.
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. H, administrative adjudication of parking violations. Board to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 78, Article 12 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances to create a new Division 3 for the administrative adjudication of parking, standing, and vehicle condition violations. Attorney Zemanek.
Thank you. There's a separate state statute that authorizes administrative adjudication of parking, standing, vehicle condition violations. And its procedures are slightly different than the procedures for general ordinance violations and different than administrative tow hearing procedures. So unfortunately, we need to create three separate systems in the Code of Ordinances for these three types of hearings. In the past, the police department has historically issued traffic tickets. People had the right to request a hearing, and that hearing was conducted in the circuit court. And if fines were levied, again, it's a $30 parking ticket, the circuit court would keep that money. The goal was to have people just voluntarily pay, and if they didn't pay or request a hearing, the unpaid parking ticket would go to collections. Recently, the village board approved a contract with DACRA that provides software for issuing tickets and for having an administrative adjudication hearing system where you can have, as in the village's case, upwards of 200, 300 parking tickets on the call for an administrative adjudication hearing. And the goal is to bring the adjudication of those parking tickets in-house with our same hearing officer. So the ticket's going to have a hearing date where people can appear if they want, If they want to pay the parking ticket without appearing and before the hearing, they can do so. If they're found liable and fined $30, they have 35 days to either pay that ticket, that fine, or appeal the determination to the circuit court. And once that time period runs out and they still haven't paid, the fine doubles from $30 to $60. And if they don't pay it after that, it gets sent to collection. There's different fines for handicap parking violations. That's set by state statute. That's $250. And there's a different fine amount for commercial vehicle parking and idling violations. That's currently in our Village Code of Ordinances. That's not changing. The only thing that's changing is we have a $250 cap on the amount of fines that can be levied for any parking type violation. So this complies with state statute. It's similar to what Clarendon Hills has, Lyle, several other communities that do adjudicate these violations in-house.
Thank you, sir. And now we get to retain all the fines paid by the violators at the village level, right?
Correct.
Oh, you made us some money. All right. Well, motion, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Scales.
Second, Little?
Any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
I just like to comment, if that parking violation worked, right, why do we have amnesty days, right? It's not us, but there's an amnesty. I don't know how people can habitually ignore those, right?
They sure do.
Just a comment.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Can I just
Yes.
ask so with these additional do we have a line item where, or is this just like where does the income go, I guess, right? Is this
It's a
considered?
good question. I'm sure our assistant manager Parker is pulling it up right now, but I'm sure it does go somewhere specific.
Oh,
I don't know, though. It's a good question.
Yeah, so the parking fines and fees go into the general fund, the same place where we pay for our police officers' salaries and the salaries
okay.
to enforce those. I will say the fines and the fees that we get make up a very small percentage of what we pay to enforce the law and keep everything
Yeah.
going, so. It's a very small amount, and really, again, similar to with code enforcement, the real point is trying to get people to comply with
Sure.
the rules, park where they're supposed to. It goes into the same place as police salaries.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Do we do roll call yet?
We did not.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Scales.
Yes.
Trustee Little.
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli.
Yes.
Trustee Plowman.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
And Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, and good old miscellaneous. Mr. May, I think I will kick it over to you first. We got some things, but it's your time, so if you'd like to go first, that's great, or we got a few tricks up our sleeves, too. So I'll defer to you, sir.
That just makes me nervous.
By design.
Yeah. So I've been, besides planning for this, thinking about this a very long time. It is truly a bittersweet moment, and moment's not even the right word, because this is, for me, it's been going on since last fall, the planning and preparation for this, not just for myself, but for the organization as well. Tonight is, I'm speaking to people that I already know the business, and, for the people in the audience that came, and, anybody watching this, this is my last board meeting. Tomorrow's my last day, but the last board meeting with the village, and as your village manager. I've had a very long career with the Village of Westmont. I started in 1986 I am a civil engineer, and by education and training and all that, and a long career in the public works-based departments and work, and the bulk of that. But the last 7 years as your village manager. And I was with Patty's help, but I was trying to inventory over that period of time. I've worked in my entire career, I worked for 6 mayors, 3 clerks as of this month, so, with that. But there's been 28 village trustees, and 9 of those, here as the village manager as well. So it's over 35 years of service here, and as village manager, tonight is the 274th meeting that I've had. And over the career here, it was hard to figure out. We had a different meeting structure, but even as a civil engineer, we all attended the village board meetings, whether being required or not, they were just always there. So that number is in excess of 850 meetings, and this building, the old building, and all of that put together. So that is, and in that entire time, I've missed only one meeting, and that was on November 4th, 2021, and I forget why I had to miss that meeting. There was a wedding or something, that was in conflict with it, but look how that turned out. So I hope I can be, forgiven for that absence, but the Mayor Gunter, that's why he filled out open forum, so that he could skip out early and get out of here, but.
Secret's out.
Yeah. He 11 years ago, invited or asked, or he said tonight, convinced me to consider the village manager position when that became available. And I was not interested at all, not interested in that. It was just something that never occurred to me as a career path or even something. In fact, I was like, I just kept telling him, I was like, I was assistant village manager at the time, so it was, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. Everything will be okay while you go search for, your village manager. So it was several conversations, or several times in the same conversation, that he kept saying that he wanted, me to do it, and invited me to do that. So how many times have you heard me, call it being tricked into doing it? And I truly believed it at the time, but over the time, the trick is me tricking myself. And it was Mayor Gunter that I owe the realization that, and the opportunity to better serve this community together with, Mayor Gunter. And that kind of takes me to the, it's not, there's, this world, and then there's the social media world and all that too, but the relationship between a mayor and a village manager or a village administrator is very special and different. Part of it lawfully described in opportunities at state statutes, but it's that interface between the elected, the policymakers, and then the practice and the people that do the work as well. So that combination of the mayor with their manager is very important. And together with Mayor Gunter, worked with you a very long time too, but as mayor only for a month. So that I'm speaking about Ron Ron Gunter at the moment. And with that together, he had visions as well. And I said I was a civil engineer of public works, so there was a lot of, whether it was actually the day he was sworn in, there was not a mob, but there was a very full room of people that, just had a very significant storm and a, flooding thing. And we, immediately instituted our stormwater management program. And it was also a time of, economy, economic crisis, and not knowing, how funds were going to be. And he put together got back into the mass street resurfacing. We just, approved a contract tonight, and those many miles in the MFT is the motor fuel tax fund that we have access to do all that, and, working together with him. So together we built a lot, and one thing I've been asked often in the past month or before that is, what are you most proud of? What are your favorite accomplishments? And I just, I wasn't answering the question because I didn't really know how to answer the question. And then I get crap from everybody about being humble and stuff. But it's because it's not individual work at all. Everything that was on there is, working with everybody else, to accomplish these things and these projects and these policies and these programs, and that's the village board, but it's the team in the room that's here as well. And there's one thing I am proud of is building this, administrative organization that we have here, all of the department heads, their staff underneath them. It's an ever-evolving thing that, just keeps going at the same time, but, their work, I don't want to say makes it easier for me, to be able to do this, because if it was in another community, I'm not sure it would have survived the same way that it was. So that is something that was built, and I'm pretty proud of with that. I did, I try and take note. I don't know why I took notes today. For 35 years, I've never followed anything, that I've ever laid an outline before. But those projects and the team, and we have the team of staff and the work that we do here, but our business doesn't end at our boundaries either. So we have phenomenal relationships with our immediate neighbors. We have a phenomenal relationship. Last night, many of you, sat with the DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference, and that organization is, nothing but valuable, valuable to me as far as what we can do together, our business, our county business, our regional business, our Northeast Illinois business is all good. And, that's very impressive in this area. What is unique here, I call it a unique community, and I use the word community a lot, but I don't say it lightly. It's an easy word to just throw out. It's just a generic word, community and team. But here, it means something different, and the teamwork but even our newest members, from the day they were in the door, refer to each other as team members, and doing that, you're very good about that as well. And it's not just saying it just to say it, it really is. And tying that back to the community, it's easy to say community and people just think territory, but it's not. The community here is a very special, and it's not just the population and the residents, it's the residents, the other forms of government that are here, with park districts, library districts. Before the meeting, there were other people here, libraries represented, service organizations. Certainly they're private, they're not governmental, but you have the park districts, the library districts, the multiple school districts we have in Westmont. And here, they all get along and they all work together, and there's no other community that can say that happens. And there is always some, conflict somewhere within that. So, this is a special place, and those relationships are, I'm proud of that and maintaining that, when I think internally, and besides putting the team together, those of you who've been here a while know that, in the public works environment, even our departments were separate departments. And when Mayor Bill Ron, invited me back, I have worked for Westmont twice, so there was a little period of time in the middle there that I was in a different community. But, put that together and made, street water engineering divisions within one public works department. And that's been they were very segmented and separate, and putting that all together, and Amy's got, a lot to do with that, making them feel as, one, cohesive unit and things like that too. So those are the types of things that I'm describing. There's this new, Mayor Gunter did not run again. With you were certainly on the board for a very long time, but back in last November, we knew that there was who was on the ballot, and unopposed, and not that that's important in any way other than it allowed us to plan for this transition last fall and do that and put the preparations in. So, I've been retirement plannings for 6 months, I have no doubt I'm going to be just very, very happy being retired, but retiring is awful, you know, and it's really had, and today's been a really sad day for me, but sad in a very appreciative way. So, it was a tough day. I am, quite proud of the whole career and the whole career, not just, but, especially the last 10, 11 years as well. And, I'm going to wrap this up before Mr. Trout wants to speak. But I am literally, exhausted. So the timing is great. I'm not trying to gloss, we did work through a very, horrific, experience, and managing all of that, again, team-wise. But for me, not because of that, but the timing is great. My Maverick right there is going to be a big brother soon. It is a great time to be a grandparent. He and I are going to get in a lot of trouble together, starting maybe tomorrow. And so I can only, sum that all up as, I've got nothing but thanks and appreciation the last 11 years for Ron Gunter, Mayor Ron Gunter. I worked with him at the Park District for all those years prior to that. And, you, sir, for the last month in this role, but we've worked together a very long time. He was always referred to you as the senior trustee as far as, serving this community as well. So that's pretty much it for me.
You're giving him a room in our house.
The garage. He's going to hang out in the garage with me.
Well,
but thank you.
Thank you, Manager May. Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes without saying, but, I was here on the village board for 14 years, believe it or not, and there was another manager before Steve, obviously, but I can honestly say when you started till now, this village is a heck of a lot better, and it's because of your leadership, all your hard work. You said it, but that team back there that you built, this transition plan, it's all at your leadership, and that, I think the community is indebted to you for forever, so you always have a home here in the village, and I...
Yeah, I got a key.
Yeah, a key, and I know we can bother you for a while, because I'm sure
Yes,
I'm sure
do.
Manager Gunther's going to need a lot of advice back there in the next few weeks,
And
months.
I'm excited for both of you. I mean, I was looking at him back there, but there's a lot of great things coming.
And I think he offered to volunteer if any resident ever asked if we could put a stop sign up, that he's going to handle that response for us for the next couple decades at least.
Right, I am the stop sign hating traffic engineer.
Well, no, honestly, thank you. I've learned a lot from you over the years personally, professionally, heck of a resource for this village and all your capacities. The community owes a lot to you. So
Appreciate
tonight
that.
we have a nice plaque here, and I'll read it right now, but we're gonna do a little different. Normally it's just, the whole board's gonna come up for a nice picture. All the village staff, you said it best, the whole team is gonna do a big group picture with you, if that's okay.
Terrific, yes.
And maybe the family too, if you'd like that too. But this says, and I'll read it, you heard a little synopsis, but the Village of Westmont honors Stephen M. May, Village Manager from 2014 to 2025 as the Village Manager, and then the Director of Municipal Services and Assistant Village Manager in 2014. He was Director of Public Works from 2003 to 2014, and then he started here in the Assistant Village Manager 1986. Wow, to 2000. So that's a heck of a 35 years of dedicated service to this community. May retirement be enjoyable for you and filled with many, many happy years. Congratulations, sir. This is for you, and let's get a big team picture up. picture? Go ahead, lead the way. Let's go. You're in the team too. Come on, John, that's you too.
Besides, I highlighted my grandson, but my son Brendan's here with his wife Ryan, my wife Mike, you all know.
Come on, all village
She always
staff,
asks me
let's
where
go.
she's at.
American Legion members, P&Z members, come on, get up here. Let's go, library board, come on up, everybody. Stand, P&Z board. This is Steve's team, let's go. Big crew here.
I'm good. I'm right here. You take your picture. I'm fine.
I'll take it. All right, we're gonna do a couple of these. We're going with Patty over there.
Stop it.
All right, sorry.
You post that anywhere, I'll come after you.
We'll Photoshop you.
Ready? Here we go, a couple more of these. All right,
Should
we're
we do
gonna add.
Westmont thumbs up for Steve?
Sure, we can do thumbs
All right,
up.
let's
Let's
do
do
it.
everybody thumbs up, thumbs up, everybody. Where are you going? 1, 2, and we got it. And then we're gonna bring the family.
Yeah, let's go, everybody in. Come on, family in.
You know, this will be the only picture.
Larry,
Larry, you're never in a picture.
There you go.
Come on, Patty, get in here. You gotta get Patty in here. Patty,
No, we're good. We're good.
All right, we're missing a few people. Let's see. I'm gonna try to have you guys all step up.
All the short ladies to the front, please.
We're pretty close. Pretty close.
Are you a lady? No. Okay, thank you.
Okay, everyone kind of look right here if you can. Big smiles. Hold on, we're gonna do this. Ready, here we go. You can see me, I can see you. Ready, 1, 2, 3. All right, we got you. Thank you. All
Amy, I think we have something else too, right? Oh, don't go anywhere, sir. Yeah, no, yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's cute.
You know, I have to.
Oh, cute.
He's been waiting a long time.
I know. We'll get your picture. We'll get your picture there.
Forget the plaque, he wants a street sign.
Still giving orders.
Are we putting that on which street? Which street is that going on?
That's a lot of years.
It's a long time.
Next to Grandpa parking.
It's going over the bed, Mike said.
Yeah.
You can put it on Wilmette.
There we go. Oh, yes, sir. All right. Yeah, that's my second one. That's pretty good. All right, any other comments in miscellaneous?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I could just say on behalf of myself, a privilege.
Thank you.
Sit next to you for several years, I think all.
Sharing cough drops. and-
Sharing, you know, we pass medicine back and forth and peanuts. Anyway, outstanding job, that's all, leadership.
Thank you.
We all feel the same way.
Wish you were on earlier, Bob. There has been opportunities that have come up, and we talk about who we're going to go recruit, and I keep, throwing your name out, and everyone's like, hell, no, I don't want to do that.
All right.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Well, hearing nothing else, then we do not have an executive session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Little?
Second, Scales?
Roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Yuzo?
Yes.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being here.